Views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Talkroom by Naha. This content is for entertainment and informative discussion purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Onoonya kifo nga kiri wakati mu kibuga Kampala nga kyessuuliridde okuva ewaka naye ng'ate kiri wakati mu kibuga Kampala. Jangu ku Butikiro Heights tulina Airbnb ziri fully furnished, tulina AC, tulina Wi-Fi, tulina ne private kitchen ne private balcony. Beerawo ng'ali ewaka ku Butikiro Heights wetusangibwa.
Welcome to yet another episode of the Talkroom. My name is Sylvia Nahawe Kajura, also known as Naha. Today we are sitting down with a counsel that has built her profession in the legal department with power and purpose. We're going to be learning from this particular conversation. But before we delve into the conversation, we are coming to you from Butikiro Heights, along Butikiro Road. If you haven't visited this particular place, come and visit this place. It has the best restaurant with the best ambience. Let's delve into the conversation. It's good to have you, Counsel Nsereko Sauda.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming through.
You're welcome. Thank you for hosting me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Who are we to have Counsel on the Talkroom? Now, before we go any further,
Yes.
we would love to know what inspired you to pursue law.
I don't have any inspiration actually. My journey to becoming a lawyer, as in Kawempe Muslim Secondary School, that is my HSC. At first I think I wanted to be a journalist because my dad was a journalist. So all I thought, I didn't know maybe law was a part of a profession you could become. Then at one point in school, there's a teacher, he was called Mr. Luchalmers. He was teaching us history and Islam. He called me and told me, what do you want to put as your first choice? I told him I wanted mass comm. I was like, no, you cannot compete in mass communication. Like why? You see, as girls, as we are growing up, we think we want to be like our fathers.
Sure.
We think, especially if you have...
So you have a background of law?
Yeah, no, we don't.
Of journalism, rather.
Of journalism, yes. My father was a journalist. He used to work in Radio Uganda, UTV.
Wow.
Yeah, so I thought I wanted to become a journalist. Until this teacher came to me and told me, you cannot become a journalist. Like, why? I was like, no, the people you're going to compete with will not even have studied journalism. You're going to waste your 3 years without a job. You're going to look for a job all your life. Then I went and talked to my dad. I was like, yeah, I know you want to become a journalist, but it's no longer how it used to be. Maybe those days of theirs. So I went and filled law as my first choice. Actually, I didn't think I would get law. I was like, if I put law and I don't get it, because you see, it's the highest course in arts with very big points. The cut-off points are so high. It's like, what if I don't get law? What if I don't become a lawyer? Then my second choice was education. And I'm like, okay, if my parents are not able to pay for me law, then maybe I'll do it. Actually, in my head, I knew I would become a teacher. Then this teacher encouraged me. Sometimes kids do not know their abilities as children. I think in Uganda, most children don't even know what they want to become until they're at university. That's when they know, oh, I want to become ABCD. And this is exactly my story. Until I was in law school, my first year, first 2-3 lectures, I was like, oh, I belong here. So the inspiration came when I was already in law school, not before I was in law school. So the issue of career guidance is very important. And I'm very thankful to that teacher of mine. He was called Mr. Nsereko Sauda. He believed in me and he knew I would make it. And I'm here right now as a lawyer because he believed, he showed me my capabilities. I just didn't believe in myself until I was there.
The self-esteem.
Self-esteem was down. You don't know if you can make it until this person tells you, look at your marks. You're one of the best people in class. Why don't you go for it? And until you're there, the marks come for your name and you're like, oh, I could make it. But before that, you do not even know your capabilities.
True.
I think most of the time we hear, and I don't know if it has happened to you or to the other people, but children do not know their capabilities. They don't know what they can do until maybe if you're lucky, a teacher identifies you and tells you, you know what, don't do this. This is much better. Maybe I would be teaching somewhere in some school down there, teaching maybe history, Islam, Teacher Sauda. But I'm very grateful. Even my law journey is good. I'm doing well legally. It's worth it, really.
It's such a beautiful journey, and we love to understand it's a long journey, and
Yes.
it comes with a lot of challenges. And we've had people that have actually given up. Are there any moments you felt like you want to give up, and what kept you going?
Sometimes those moments are there. When you're in practice, I'm in private practice. I am the managing partner of Nsereko Company.
Yes.
You see, when we are out of school, sometimes we want to look for jobs. That is how the system is made here. Study well. Those days of ours, I don't know how it is with you. Those days of ours, they would tell us, study well and look for a job.
And make money.
And make money and become rich, and the rest is history. However, when I started out, we looked for jobs. We really, really looked for jobs. We made very many applications until I went to someone's law firm. Yes, my first boss is called Mr. Nsamba. I went to him and I told him I needed to start out somehow. We had just finished that is 2006 in July. And I was like, no, I can't sit down. I can't be a lawyer and sit down at home doing what? So in August, I went to him. I told him, let me be sitting here in your law firm. I was like, okay. He gave me a chance. The first day I came late. I was like, no, you go back until you know that you have to come back.
You learned the hard way.
I learned the hard way. The next day I was there by 7.
At what time could they open?
8:30, but I was there by 7. I went there, sat in the law firm, and started doing my work. And do you know what my salary was? 70,000.
Wow.
He told me I would give you 70,000 per month and transport of 5,000 per day. I was like, okay, as long as I'm not home, and I'll find my way out.
And what were you doing exactly?
Well, I was like an assistant. You remember I had just finished LDC, and you don't have really qualifications. You needed to be somewhere. I'll just help him type different documents, do research. You're like a research assistant, basically. Then I worked for him, like for a year. Then I was like, but these things, what I understood was the profession, the legal profession, is how good you think. You don't, sometimes you don't need a job. What I learned is that you can use, your brain is your capital. You may not need a lot of money to start up, because what our clients want is what is in your head, what you can deliver to them. How articulate are you? How much do you understand what the law? That is how it is. So after 1 year, I and my other friends, we started a law firm, Nsereko and Company Advocates.
And
That is 2008.
you're still at campus?
Yes. No, after campus.
Okay.
So that is, at one point when we are looking for a job, you feel like, no, even this profession doesn't have jobs, because everywhere you apply, you're not getting. But at the end of the day, you need to think, you need to get up. You don't have to be in an abyss just because someone hasn't given you a job.
And that's what I wanted to ask. Do you think law is viable in Uganda today, or it's becoming saturated?
The truth is, maybe the times we entered it was viable. It is still viable. I still believe it's still viable. There are a lot of opportunities in this world. And remember, we know different people. I could know you, I could know your other friends. Then someone else knows someone else.
Social capital.
We may have different clientele, really. It is, me, I still believe it's viable. Why? There are very many aspects of life that need lawyers. I'm in private practice, but there are other opportunities. There are people who become judges, there are people who become prosecutors, there are people who become justice at Ministry of Justice, in the Office of Administrator General. There are people who become legal advisors for different companies. Just know that every company needs a legal person. Every company, for schools, every aspect of life needs a lawyer. Every business entity needs a lawyer. So I don't know. I think it's still viable. But the problem is the quality of lawyers that are produced.
True.
That is where actually the problem is. But I still believe it is viable.
You talked about career guidance. We've had young people out there. When you're starting school, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a particular profession. By the end of your senior six, you changed your mind. What do you have to say about that?
I think this comes up because of capabilities. Our parents and our teachers, from a young age, they look at people with money and they think if you become someone like that, you'll be rich. We grew up thinking, okay, our parents and our teachers, that if you don't study well, you're going to be a beggar on the street. If you don't do this, you're going to become this, but not necessarily. There are people out there who have made it in life without taking the traditional professions. For example, there are people who are plumbers. They have plumbing companies that are big. There are people who are smith, There's people who weld, blacksmith. And they have made it, they have a lot of money. They have made it in life. In those other professions, people think they're not for people who are learned. There are people who have made it in music. Imagine if you realized your kid would be a musician from an early age. Don't you think they would be grooming them into, maybe if they are actresses, actors, they are talented, maybe if they are athletes, they are swimmers, don't you think would be in a better place? Would have people who are trained from an early age to being where they want to be. Not everyone is destined to be a lawyer, to be a teacher, to be an engineer, to be those other doctors, pilots. Yeah, everyone wanted to be a doctor at one point. But by S4, you know you are not capable in sciences and you're going to become something else. After S6, even after doing your arts, you're like, even though I want to be there. And you're like, maybe I would be a teacher. But you see, the teaching profession used to be good. It was inspiring. I think it is still good. But the problem is, when you look at how much they are paid and how much people are running from the teaching profession, you're like, thank God I did not become a teacher. You actually thank God you did not become a teacher.
Just need to be motivated.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. You see, when you look at the science teachers are paid well, but even them, they're not satisfied with what they're paid. The arts teachers are paid 800,000 shillings. Imagine someone with children, with a wife, with other obligations, is paid 800,000 shillings. No housing allowance, no food, no concessions. Like kids studying for free. They are competing with someone who is making 4 million in the same profession.
Hence discouraging the
Absolutely.
young minds that are looking
Absolutely.
after that. Now, we love to understand what are some of the myths around being a lawyer that people should stop believing.
There are many myths. For example, one of them, you know that lawyers are liars. Everyone thinks lawyers are liars. But I don't believe so. Sometimes, yes, we lie, but not always.
Sometimes, yes.
Everyone thinks, but we are not liars. Because they believe that if you've done something wrong, you come and tell me that I've killed someone, so please defend me. And when I stand there defending you, people think I believe you didn't do it. And I am defending you on the point that you didn't do it. Okay. Sometimes it's not necessarily like that. Let me tell you one story. I used to do state briefs. You remember the Okello case that has been in the newspaper? Those lawyers you see there, they have been representing that gentleman on state brief. State brief is an initiative of government because when someone is charged with those capital offenses, they are entitled to a lawyer. Because it may be hard for them to get a lawyer by themselves. They get someone on state brief. They get lawyers out there to represent these indigent persons. They cannot represent themselves. So I used to do a lot of state briefs between 2009 and 2013. And I would represent people who are charged with defilement, rape, robbery, murder, those capital offenses whose sentence is death. But everyone thought that these people have told you that they are murderers and you're defending them with knowledge. But I'll tell you one thing. Those people have lawyers there in Luzira. They are fellow inmates. Imagine even them, they are not able to get themselves out. But they are giving this person advice. But when you talk to that lawyer, please never tell them that you did ABC. And they can swear. They can swear on their mother's lives that they never killed, they never defiled. That's what they do. There are only a few who will confess to a lawyer. And in my experience, I think I got like 2 or 3 who said, oh, I did it. One was defilement of a 14-year-old. He was also 16. I think they were in a relationship. Yeah, and really, I was like, I did it, but what can I do? The luck he had, the girl never surfaced. So he was acquitted just like that. Yeah, but sometimes they never ever tell us the truth. Never. Even those who tell us the truth in these other civil matters, They'll tell you, but counsel, they lie. Clients lie a lot. They will not tell you. They will always give an excuse for what they did. They'll never ever tell you the truth. That is one of the myths. Then the other myth.
Lawyers are not liars.
They're not liars. Okay, sometimes I don't know how to defend it. They're not liars. They just defend someone according to what the law says. Sometimes even for you, what you see, what you believe may not actually be the truth. For example, someone who asked me a question, but counsel, you'll find someone has been beaten there for stealing, and you're telling us that that person is not a thief. And I'm like, but has any of those people who are beating that person seen him? Because sometimes someone may be running and they're like, Omubi, Omubi, Omubi. And everyone goes to that person, irrespective of if he has done it or not.
Yes.
So for you, you're giving justice to, you already justified that this is a thief. Not sometimes unnecessary. Of course, for Kelo's case, it's a different story. That one, you cannot even defend him.
Yeah.
It was very hard to defend him. I mean, it was obvious. But there are those cases where it's not as obvious.
Okay.
Then there's also a time, there's a guy who was set up like that, Mob Justice. I think they had issues. And then he was set up. He just went to a school, picked a kid. He was the CEO of he was the cow, I think, of the area. He picked a kid, asking them where their mother was. The kid told this guy that my mother is at home. They left me at school and I needed to go home. So the guy was like, okay, you enter the car and I take you to your mother. When he was leaving the school, then someone shouted, that guy has kidnapped a kid. That guy was burnt to death. He was burnt. But it was all a setup, work-related setup. And you could not convince the mob that this person is not kidnapping this kid for sacrifice. So that is how it is. So it is a mixture of truth and false, depending on the circumstances. What I applaud is we shouldn't treat each case the same. Each case has its own facts.
Yeah.
Yes. Then the other myth, people think lawyers are rich.
You mean to say they're not?
No, they're not rich. They are normal people, just like everyone else. And those people, most kids study law thinking, I will be rich.
They're already smart.
But yeah, they're smart because that's what the profession asks of them. But they may not necessarily be rich. I think sometimes this is what pushes most lawyers into defrauding their clients, because for them their mentality is lawyers should be rich. Then the other thing, they're like, lawyers will not go to heaven. What they're doing is against the law of God. But you see, even with religious laws, they need evidence. It is the same thing with law, with legal. If you do not have evidence, you cannot argue anything. Imagine someone accusing you without evidence. It is the same thing. But you see, that's the mentality of what people think. And they keep telling us, for you, a lawyer, you want to go to heaven. I'm like, okay, we'll see who goes there first. Yeah.
It's quite interesting. Now, we'd love to understand what is that one big case challenging case that you've worked on?
I've worked on many, but there is one. It was on state brief. We were arguing a treason. It was a big, big case. I think we did it. The time we did it, we also we used to work on weekends up to 8 o'clock every single day. It was against the remnants of, what is that thing called? Connie was what? RDF. Not RDF, it is Connie remnants. There are some guys who are accused of treason. And thank God we got an acquittal. Yeah, because the evidence was not enough. It wasn't available. The other cases I've worked on, there are some election petition cases. Some of them, yeah, they're quite a number. Some of them have not come to the papers. Some of them have been there. Yeah.
As a female lawyer, it's quite challenging. What are those some of those challenges that you have faced, and how have you been able to overcome them?
Oh, you see, if you're a woman, when you go in a male-dominated profession,
Yes.
like me, I'm in legal practice, private practice. Most girls are not there. They are there as most of them are there as assistants, not the bosses. Sometimes you'll find yourself on a panel of men and you're the only woman there. Sometimes you'll find a case where the other party is a man and they want to bully you. There's a case I was handling, then the gentleman, the other lawyer on the other side, was telling me, but Counsel, how can you handle such a case? You people, they think that because they're women, you take things personal. Then I told him one thing, you don't have to tell me that. You have your client, I have my client. The good thing, the beautiful thing about law is that you argue with your brain. I don't need to be physical to win. If your arguments are better than mine, then you'll win the case. If mine are better than yours, the judge will make a decision on that. And I won that case against him. Sometimes when you win these cases against them, they start to respect you. They know that,
They now understand
that she's had not to cry. And then there are those cases you go to and they're like, Counsel Sauda is here. We are not going to finish this case. Because they know that you're going to push the case until the finish line. So what do? You need to believe in yourself as a lawyer. Don't give up.
Onoonya kifo nga kiri wakati mu kibuga Kampala ate nga kituukagana n'omutindo. Leka nkwanjulire Butikiro Heights, tusangibwa Mengo, Butikiro Road mu Kampala. Onoonya kifo kyakupangisa, dduuka oba kyakusulamu, jangu ku Butikiro Heights. Naawe anoonya ekifo ew'okuwummulira nga kyessuuliridde okuva ewaka naye ng'ate kiri wakati mu kibuga Kampala. Jangu ku Butikiro Heights, tulina Airbnb ziri fully furnished, tulina AC, tulina Wi-Fi, tulina ne private kitchen ne private balcony. Beerawo ng'ali ewaka. Ku Butikiro Heights wetusangibwa.
Quite interesting. Law is indeed a male-dominated profession, and it's quite interesting to know that you're doing good. Now, we'd love to know what would you advise a young mind out there that would love to, a female young person out there trying to venture into this particular profession?
What I would advise them is go for it. If that is really what you want to become, please go for it. There is no rocket science in becoming a lawyer. The same person you are, the same person I am, anyone can become a lawyer. As long as you believe you can make it. Yeah, just be confident, be humble, just make research and know where you want to be. Yeah,
Okay, there are a lot of amendments before we close the conversation, before we wrap up the conversation. A lot of amendments that are happening in Uganda today, but to be particular, the Building Control Act. What should Ugandans understand about this particular act?
Oh, this act was amended, I think, last 2-3 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yes, it was assented to by the president. It is in force. What you should know about it is these regulations have been there of what you have to do before you start building a house. Yeah, you go out there, buy your small plot. Some of you buy plots of 20 by 30 feet. You will not get a plan for it.
Wow.
You need to have a plan of building a house. Unfortunately, the Physical Planning Act will only approve a plan where your plot is around 50 by 100, minimum 50 by 100. What does it mean? As you're going out there, I know sometimes those plots are pocket friendly. They're around 2 to 3 million, but you will have it at a cost. Maybe if you're buying it and you want to sell it at a later date to get a bigger plot, I would advise you save money, get a bigger plot.
There is no more, I have my 1M and
I want to get a plot. Maybe if you're going to pay in installments. Because look at it, if you have a plot of 20 by 30 feet, where are you going to put that toilet? How many rooms are you going to have? Where are you going to put the kitchen? And where are you going to park your car? If in the event you're able to buy one in that plot of 40 by 20, 15 by 20, it means you're going to inconvenience other people. How are you going to put your sock pit and pit latrine? It means you have to share a toilet, which is unhygienic, really. From when we were studying, even when we were young, we knew that a home has to have a kitchen, has to have a toilet, has to have a compound, it has to have like a play area, then also the rooms. So how are you going to construct a house in a 20 by 30, then put a toilet, put a kitchen?
And how does this particular act affect Ugandans?
Most people have those plots. That's the truth. When you look at areas of Masaja, Salama Road, Chibiri, even those areas, Budo, these plots have spread a lot. But it is not worth it.
What's their fate?
What's their fate is, my advice, I don't know what their fate is, but the act says that if you don't have a plan, they have to demolish the house. And I am sure all these plots do not have a plan. You need to have a plan for your house. You need to have an occupation permit. If you have a double storage, you need to also have a plan for electricity, water, how it runs in the house, and everything. So as you're having these things, I think they have given a grace period where you can take your plans for approval. It could be 2-3 months. For those who have those plots that can get plans, please go and get your approved plans, get your plans approved, get your occupation permit, such that when these people come to your door, you have all these documents in your hand. For those who do not have plans, I do not even have the words to tell you. Maybe you can get someone do for your plan for an already existing structure. Yeah. But for those who are living in the small plots, my opinion was, I am not for demolishing their houses. They have worked so hard to be there. Sometimes people don't want to rent places. That's why they go for these cheaper plots. And that's what they can afford. Imagine someone selling clothes, window down there, or someone selling food, hawking food. They have saved their money of 2 million, bought a plot, and you want to demolish it. My advice was not to the people, but to the government. My advice is you can get these people, like, bring them as one. Yeah, you can demolish their houses, then construct for them a condominium. There are houses we call condominiums. Have you heard of them?
Yes.
Yeah, for condominiums, each one of them will be entitled to their apartment. They will have a title for it. It can sort the housing problem because we still have housing deficit in Uganda. Most people do not have homes, do not have where they stay. So my advice is to the government, not to the people. Oh, to the people, they could maybe pester their MPs. Yeah, what they should do, they should have these people collectively, those with small plots, make it a bigger plot, maybe for 100 by 100. Get for them a title for that place. Build for them condominiums where each of them has every amenity. Then have shared amenities like compound, if there is swimming pool, like parking. Yeah, each one of them gets their toilet, gets their everything in their house. That is the only solution, I think.
With Ugandans and the conflicts you normally have.
No. What happens is, have you seen people living in a flat, in a storage buildings?
Yes.
Each one of them has their own space.
Yes.
Yeah, you enter your house where you have your toilet, your everything in there. The only thing you share is the parking lot. Is the only shared space. Yeah, that is the only thing you share. But then you'll have better housing facilities, because compared to your small room space, like this, with a toilet, which even a kid cannot enter through, and your compound, which is zero almost, yeah, it is better that way. I would think it's better that way.
Do you think condominiums can work in Uganda? Keep the conversation live in the comment section. But all I know, Ugandans are going to get into depression. Psychologists out there, it's time to do your job. One word before we wrap up this particular conversation, I'd love to ask. We can keep the conversation live as time goes on. We can have Counsel Nsereko come back and enlighten more on different amendments. One word, the way you are right now and where the position you're having right now, what would you tell your younger self?
My younger self? My younger self, I would tell what? You need to believe in yourself. So you need to see life in a better position. You see, when we are growing up, I think we're not so close to our parents. We're not so close to our parents. And that somehow affects you as you grow up. Sometimes you cannot talk to them. For example, my parents had 10 children. My mom had 10 children. She was working, my father was working. I cannot complain because they tried. They gave us the time, yes, because they had to work. Anytime they would get, we would talk. But I believe children need more time in nurturing. For example, as a girl, you're growing up, we have challenges. We make mistakes. For example, at 15, 16, there are boys out there who will touch your bum, who will touch your boobs, and it is natural to have feelings for a boy. But you cannot even talk to your parent that, there is this boy out there. Yes. What should I do about it? What happens is, if you're not a role model for your child, someone else is going to be a role model for them. So the person you ask is also your age, your teenager. then you also look at the kids around you. You look, everyone has a boyfriend at 16, 17, 18, and you think that is the way to go. Yeah? Maybe if we had more time with our parents, we could talk to them. We feared our parents so much. We loved them, they loved us. They could talk. But sexual education, sex education wasn't there. Yes. And that is one aspect. I wish I could tell my young self, maybe if I could talk to my mom. She wasn't that tough, but we feared her. We're not fearing, what should I say? There are some things you can't talk to her. And one thing I'm glad about, I have a daughter aged 22, Hanifa, and her sister Hadia, she's age 17. I'm glad they can talk to me about it. They'll tell me, oh, Mommy, now if a boy tells you this, what do you tell them back? It helps them have this self-esteem. Control them in a way. In space where there are boys, you'll fear boys because your esteem is down. You'll fear looking at boys, you'll fear talking to boys, then there's a lot of gossip of maybe this one is in love with this one, and you're like, oh my God, this is an abomination. But you see, if your parent tells you that, at this age, it is normal to have feelings for a boy and a girl, but you need to control them in such a way that by the time you're below 18, by the time you're 18, you know what to do. Then some kids made mistakes. They would slip around, but because they're not guided by their parents, they see what their friends are doing and like, maybe that is what we should do. You understand? Yeah. So a younger self of me, I would maybe do it differently, but I wasn't my own parent. So what I did it with my children.
Big conversations and real conversations, inspiring conversations that we are having with Counsel Nsereko Sauda. It's been nice having you. Thank you so much for inspiring the youth out there. Maybe we can have you next time and enlighten more and enlighten to the youth more and more. Until next time, keep the conversations live in the comment section. Bye-bye. Views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Talkroom by Naha. This content is for entertainment and informative discussion purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised.